Good morning, campers. Today we're going to learn how to make baked beans. These are the ingredients. I got them all collected here. This is what we're going to end up with later. And so here's how we start. I use 2 pounds, 900 grams of white beans. You can use any beans. Navy beans, white beans are the same thing. You could use any beans. You need a whole onion. You want to dice that up. The key ingredient, of course, is the molasses and brown sugar. You'll find the supermarkets are sold out of regular brown sugar, so I had to buy some really expensive stuff, which is pretty good though. And then dry mustard. You want a lot of that. I personally put in an entire clump of garlic, whatever you call that. So it's like, 10 cloves. Worcestershire sauce. A little bit of vinegar. And you could add ketchup. You don't really need the ketchup. Okay. And generally when I'm eating it, I like to give it a good shot of mustard there. Some people like ketchup on their beans. I like mustard myself. Okay, so that's those are the ingredients. The next step, I'm going to soak these beans overnight in water, and then the next day we're going to boil them. So we'll continue at that. So, continuing where we left off yesterday, I've soaked the beans. Soak them overnight. Can't tell there's water in there, but there's water in there. And I forgot to mention, you're going to need a bean pot. You don't need one, but it's they sound a lot. It tastes better with a bean pot. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to drain the beans. Drain the beans, and then we're going to boil them. Get that. So we drained the beans, and we're boiling them. What you want to do is you want to use lots of salt. You can't use too much salt. It's just. This is a sugar shaker, by the way. Yeah, so a little bit more. There we go. Stir. Alright, and doesn't hurt to pick out a clean glass here. Doesn't hurt to have a glass of wine for the next part, which is the really fun part. It's when you cook the molasses stuff. So so I'm just going to pour myself a little glass of wine here. I don't usually have wine in the afternoon, but I'm going to make an exception. So, that's the old refrigerating. Alright, we'll get back to it when we start making the how come it's turning yellow? Alright, so we've cooked the beans. I don't know, about half an hour. When the skins start coming off, you've gone too far, so you don't want to ruin it with overcooking. Then you want to add in the onions. That's a whole white onion there. And mix it up. Mix it up a little bit, and then I like to add the salt right to the beans instead of in the other stuff. So that's how I do it. That's salt, by the way. Alright, so you want to stir that up a little bit. And, well, you probably need some more salt. I mean, you can never have enough salt, really. Okay, aids in digestion, apparently. Alright, so moving on. Now that's going to be the fun part. This is where you're probably on your second glass of wine by now, like me. Alright, so you take your molasses. The first batch I made, I used more than half of this. I'd say 2/3. That was way too much beans were as black as Toby's arse, as my dad used to say. Still don't know what it means. I don't know what the U.S. slave trade has to do with an Ottawa Valley Farm Boy, but anyway. So I've preheated the stove there, you can see. Now we're going to do a little experimenting here. We're going to add the sugar like this. I can do it with one hand. You want half of, but yeah, right. Yeah. The ingredients, by the way, are in the description of the video. Oh, and garlic. Previously I've squashed this, crushed it up in a crusher, but you don't need to because it cooks so fucking long. You just put it all in there. That's what's known as a shitload of garlic. You want to carefully measure out the rest of the ingredients. This is mustard, dry mustard. It should be some number of tablespoons. I can't remember exactly. And then we've got the Lee and Parent, Worcestershire. Okay, we got to measure that at some X number of tablespoons. A little bit of vinegar. Any old vinegar will do. I just only happen to have white wine vinegar, so give us a splash of this. Yeah, that's probably about right. Alright, so we're going to let that cook. It just basically heat up. All it does is mixes the ingredients together. And so while that's cooking, I better give it a little stir here. Hold the old spoon here. Spoon out here and stir this up a little bit. Now you're going to be, as you cook the beans, you're going to need water. You're going to need to keep them submerged in water while they're cooking, and right from the start. So you can probably just start adding. Some people add beer, but this will also get rid of the the dregs of the molasses and stuff in this thing. So let's add some liquid right now. Throw that in there. And that's probably good enough to cover the beans for now. So when this is heated up for, I don't know, a few minutes, 10 minutes, we'll come back. Alright, so the sauce, molasses, brown sugar, dry mustard, basic stuff. It's all set to go. You just heat it up so that it basically pours easy. You pour it over this stuff there. Oh yeah. You can taste it already. Alright, now you gotta just mix that up. Mix it up well. And I like to really mix it up well. So. Okay, so what else do we have to do here? Okay, you gotta grease these pots. Or at least it makes, the beans tend to stick. You cook them 4 to 6 hours. You want to grease them with butter, just some wax paper, and run it all over then. And that's not going to be big enough, so I'm going to need both of these to contain this quantity of beans. And I'm going to mix that up a little bit more. Then I'm going to stick them in the oven. Alright, the beans are all made, and I'm going to put them in the 2 pots right there. And I didn't think this through. I guess I'll need 2 hands for this, so be right back. Alright, beans are in the pot. Critical thing here, you want to make sure the beans are covered by liquid. It doesn't have to be a lot, in fact, it shouldn't be too wet. Let's start with this. And you'll need to add liquid as you cook, definitely. So check them every couple hours. Probably not enough. Okay, the beans should be covered. You could use beer if you have it. Fortunately, I don't. Yeah, that's good. You can see it's slopping around there on top. That's going to be perfect. Okay. Alright, you just want to stick them in the preheated oven. You can start it at 350. Cover these things with tin foil. Keep the heat in. This thing used to have a lid. I broke it. Alright, so we'll put that in the oven. And I turn it down after about an hour to 250 and let it sit there all fucking day. Alright. So we'll see you when the beans are done. Okay, campers. Here's the final product. Not quite as black as the original first time I tried it. Still pretty, probably still adding too much molasses. Depends how you like it. So this is fantastic. It just tastes fantastic, and really, could there be a better time to be eating something like this? So bon appetit, everybody.